I've ever had in my entire life.
Wow.
In San Francisco.
And thankfully, your children like sushi.
Oh, yeah, they love it. Yeah. I used Waymo while I was out there. Do you know what Waymo is?
Some kind of transportation
Yes.
app?
It's a car that drives itself.
Right.
And you just climb in. You call it like an Uber, and you climb in, and it just drives you. And they're everywhere.
And you feel safe.
100% down with it. I only know one person who's a better driver than this robot.
So there's no real. They don't put a robot-looking figure in there.
No, it's just an empty driver's seat.
And it drives, and you're happy.
I'm the only person that's better at driving than this robot. Okay,
of course you are.
This thing sees cars coming from your right.
How long? For you, I would imagine you got used to it like pronto. It's another fact check, pronto. But was there?
It took my wife a little bit to get used to it. Right. For me, I was 100% in right away because I cannot wait for self-driving cars because humans are bad at it. Right. There will be a day not long from now when my grandkids will look at me and say, so you drove 75 miles an hour down a street with cars coming the other direction at 75 miles an hour, and you just trusted that those other human beings weren't going to hit you head on? Because they won't even be able to fathom letting human beings drive that fast. But anyway, it was great.
So did you ever drive that fast?
What's that?
In the Waymo.
Oh, no. It's only local now. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm wondering, if people will trust it like out on the freeway or something.
Yeah, I mean, I would now, but it's going to take some adoption.
I think it's going to take a lot of... I can't even imagine... Now, for instance, my wife doesn't like my driving.
Well, here's the thing, man, that I was so surprised about. There'd be like a dump truck parked on the side of the street, and it needs to move over into the other lane, the lane next to you,
right,
for like a second to get around this dump truck. And it doesn't just stop like a stupid robot. It knows there's nobody next to you. And it just goes into that other lane for a little bit and swerves in, right on red. You know, in the instances where you can go left on red, it's doing that. Like, it was so smart. It was crazy. I don't want to get bogged down on it, but it was crazy.
Right. And you said it was, you put crazy in your text, and you said it was great. I don't think I'd have any problem with it either. The big test for, I think, anybody would be like if you're on a long haul drive and you just feel comfortable enough to like sprawl out in the back seat.
Yeah.
But let's face it, when you're on a plane,
most of the time the robot is driving.
Right. And you don't see the person.
Yeah. No, you don't.
I mean, however,
it might be like airplane where they inflate a pilot.
Also, maybe at some point, if it's a long distance thing, maybe they'll hire some schlump at minimum wage or somebody who's
to fall asleep in the seat.
Marginally, functional person. No, to make sure, to monitor that something doesn't go wrong so you can sleep.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, is like, but to sit
there's
in the
a
car,
live person, I would think that a lot of people would at least want to be awake and aware. Because when you're sitting in the passenger seat, do you have any possibility of control?
No. I think there's an emergency button you can hit, and it'll pull over.
Well, that makes a little sense. So then could you possibly drive the Waymo, or do they just come and pick it up?
I don't know. They might arrest me for kidnapping in San Francisco for that, you know. Trying to human traffic this robot.
But, okay, from robot to the earth as we know it.
Yeah.
You went to the redwoods.
Yes. So we drove up the one for a while.
Which has several places that are closed right now, by the way.
It's crazy, windy. It's like worse than the Ozarks. And then we took the 101 the rest of the way through wine country. It was beautiful, gorgeous. Won't get you bogged down in that, but it was great. It's a great road trip if you ever want to take a great road trip with your family. But then we stayed in...
And just to do the road trip part,
yeah,
you have children who are off at camp. They are tweens.
Yes.
Both.
Yep.
So that's the context. They both enjoyed the Waymo, sushi, the San Francisco, and the redwoods.
Absolutely. No, I love my friggin' kids.
You got smart kids too.
So
for those of you with middling, doddering children, maybe not so. Maybe go to the Silver Dollar City. I said it.
Now, I'm not going to lie. At one point, we did stop and eat oysters raw on the half shell because it's my son's favorite food. And so we're sitting there eating that.
If somebody's throwing their phone.
He's 12.
Across. His favorite food is oysters on the half shell.
My wife's having a nice salad. My daughter's having a bowl of clam chowder right after she obliterated some fresh calamari. So anyway, we go up the coast and we stay in Eureka.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is, Northern California. It's 62.
Not Eureka, Kansas.
Yeah. It's 62 degrees every day.
I think there's foggy, a Eureka about everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Foggy, cold, just depressing, and also looks like the Ozarks. Trailer parks everywhere, rundown houses, cars in front yards.
Where is this?
Eureka, California.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, there are places in California.
I had no idea. But it's the most convenient place to stay to then drive to the redwoods. So then we drove to the redwoods, we hiked, and even with my injured knee, I was able to hike. And these trees, Danny, the oldest tree we saw was 1,800 years old. Okay? That tree started growing before they wrote the Bible. Because in case you're...
Those are fake facts.
In case you're confused, they didn't write the Bible till the 300s. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And when you walk through these forests, and it's majestic, and there are smaller trees growing.
Did they have any of the cutout trees you walked through?
Oh, yeah. We had the one that you can drive a car through and all that. But one of the most fascinating...
Do you think they do that now?
There's no way they get by with it now. No, that thing's been there since 1918. That's why the hole is the size of like a Model T.
Right.
But the last thing I'll say about the redwoods that's so cool is you've got these trees. They're 180 feet tall, right? And they're as big around as a house. And other trees would not be able to grow because they cannot get any sunlight. But what they found is the big trees grow these smaller trees out of their root system. And so they're feeding the little trees. So that little tree can't get any sunlight. It could not make it if the big tree wasn't feeding it.
And so then do those little trees turn into big trees?
Yeah, and then they grow up to that height, and then they stop growing at a certain height so that they're all working together to then get the next tree to grow. And when fires come through and damage a tree, the other trees around it send it nutrients through the root system, through the shared root system, and let that tree come back to life and grow again. It's crazy.
Send your emails to treehugger@gmail.org.
I'll tell you what, buddy, you walk through there.
You
walk through there.
I would love it.
It is something, man. It is really something.
Right. It's one of those things. I even texted you this. It's like when you're in the mountains in Wyoming, or you're in the Wind River Valley in Wyoming, or you're at Mount Rushmore, or any of these places, Grand Canyon, you can send somebody a picture on your phone, and it's a cool picture, but it's just not going to do it.
It just doesn't do it justice.
It's like going to a strip club or something. It's the strip club of enjoyment.
It's the strip club of national parks.
Right. That was it was funny, but it was bad. I'm not going to close on that. So, Sporting Kansas City, 3 consecutive wins.
Well, they've got a new guy in charge of the personnel.
Right.
Happy to see that.
Right. And
happy to see Bobby Witt last night.
Right. And did you catch the national anthem?
Of?
The national anthem before the...
Home Run Derby?
Yeah.
No. Why? What did I miss?
We'll move on to another note, and that'll allow me to say that check back on our podcast with Tim Finn to talk about the national anthem. But I'm just trying to think of the highlight of your California trip. Was the redwoods? Was the modern convenience, what would you, if you had to pick one or the other, this is a good way to finish, one or the other, the incredible technology of the new car or the redwoods, if you had to experience one or the other, I'm going to hope that you picked one.
I'm going to say, I have to say the redwoods, because the redwoods will soon be gone, because they will burn down.
Right.
And soon enough, we will all be riding in driverless cars.
That is treehugger at gmail.com. Let me salute. We didn't finish our dream state journey, but thanks to the wonderful beer makers, to Santa Fe Liquors, and mostly to you folks for listening, and to all of the fun facts and nonsense at Thirsty Thursday. Sense and Nonsense, and we'll be back maybe in a couple weeks.
Salute.
Salute.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Joe Spiker and his team are the best in the business for all your roofing needs, handled with honesty and craftsmanship. Visit them at eastonroofing.com.